probably maybe Ducks vibes there. But anyway, since we're talking about music, I want to first and foremost engage my colleagues on some of those good morning songs I used to do in school or kindergarten. And I know Robert knows I didn't do that lullaby. Is it a lullaby? I don't know. Good morning, Robert.
Hello, good morning. How
to
are
you, man?
Felix Nkunda.
It's good to have you this morning.
Well, it's a funny morning.
How? Oh, funny?
Fridays, yes, it's a bit funny because there's something that I witnessed yesterday that really I was discussing with Priscilla, that really I wonder how men are defined and how women are defined by society. I was telling Priscilla that yesterday I lost a friend, and when they were playing a video because he died in the US, I noticed that all the men around, he was a clickmate some years back, one by one was moving away. So I'm like, where are these guys going? Yet, much as the women were weeping and in pain, I noticed that these guys were hiding so that they can cry. You get it? But it was okay for the ladies to cry in public. For the men, I found one in the car. Told him, hey, Paul, Chichi. Said, and to make matters worse, there was a toddler. Just after everything was done, this poor boy was running and he ran over a cable and fell. They were like, I'm like, this young man is in pain. The little boy is in pain. But because he's a man, he's a boy. So
clearly, for you, where were you crying from?
Tactfully, I had my auntie and
Good morning, Priscilla. Tactically, good morning, Priscilla.
Tactically, good morning to you. Good morning to you, Felix Nkunda, and good morning to you, all of Uganda. Thank you so much for joining us for the final weekday of this final bend of October. Matters, it's the 22nd of October, but it's also Friday, and it's a special particular Friday here on Good Morning Uganda. We are always bringing the tone down and relaxing it a little bit, introducing you into the weekend, while we also get to have some rest. And we should see Felix.
Yes, how it dances when it goes out.
No, it's
either pays an extra fee in a club, or is pushed out.
These are the people who go to those places where there are very few people, so there's enough space for him to.
I have paid my money. I need to like.
The day I went out with Felix, you don't want to know that story.
Do tell.
Morning, Molly. How are you?
Good morning to you, Felix, and the team. And of course, it is a special Friday for us. It's a good edition. Every Friday, we really bring you a little bit of flavor. Entertain you as we head towards the weekend. Weekend is supposed to be relaxing, so we started off on Friday and go from there. Well,
I know to Kenya this evening.
Not this evening, but obviously they won't end without me at least peeping
but
there.
Crossing the borders of country.
I don't know about crossing the borders. I might just
Prophet Elvis yesterday. Have you seen that clip? No. Prophesied. Yes. Oh well, I'm going to post it for you guys. Prophet Elvis Mbonyi. How very soon the lockdown is going to be.
Oh, have you run out of prophecy?
You've not seen that? Oh,
you guys. Anyway, I just want. I'm sort of like. You see, the Bible says, "I shall not be in the company that will mock the men of God." Me, I'm not laughing at Mama, a Prophet Elvis.
We are together. This one, Felix.
We are not laughing.
Going to heaven together with you.
Gembe has one of his songs. I think it says, "Kirabo gogesa katonda," but
they will cane you there when perhaps we are seeing glory in heaven. But I just want to ask Mollen something.
God be upon you. Nothing will happen to you in Jesus'
name. I read my Bible properly.
Amen.
And I know the last day.
So Mollen, I just want to ask Mollen. I love your dress, but I've been here thinking, is
grass green?
Is it the green?
The color and the design.
Well, this is emerald green. Emerald green.
So what?
EMAR. Emerald green, something like that.
And the design?
The design is just a Friday design.
Ruben was saying
something
it is called, what is called open roof.
I don't think he would understand. This is not his generation. He would understand the other one. How do they call them?
I don't know.
Bell bottom.
Had a bell bottom, then with these things.
Which one?
Suspenders.
With suspenders. Yeah, those ones. I think Ruben would
be
know
here for
those.
this
So it is not an open roof as the man says.
No, he doesn't understand
Because
the
he doesn't see the
generation.
roof
I
on
need to
it.
teach him a little bit of fashion.
It is
The modern
aeration.
day.
Yeah.
But anyway,
really
speaking
needs
about
lectures.
Fridays, and we've been seeing Kenya. Kenya opened up.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was listening to Ndugu Uhuru Kenyatta, how he said it with vigor, the power entrusted in me. And everyone was just clapping and cheering. And as we talk right now, I think Kenya is the hot deal in East Africa because probably Tanzania it's
Let me tell
been
you,
there already.
All transport, road transport,
telling you.
air transport, every mode of
Is-
transport is zoo.
To Nairobi.
Yeah. Kenya,
But-
kwa Kenya,
But we're only
Nairobi.
able to do this because they reached the mark of 4.8, at least in terms of vaccination. We yet to get an update from the Ministry of Health how we're faring, but we hope and pray that at least by end of this month,
Yeah.
we have hit at least 4.5.
Yes.
So we can...
So that Christmas,
So-
guys,
So we
Christmas
can-
is around the
we can
corner.
do that,
You cannot have another
what
Christmas
festive
in
season
lockdown.
happens when you can't be out
You
past
get
7?
like how?
For me, I'm looking at you people. I'm wondering the Uganda you're in. That's why I'm looking
It is the
at
same
you.
Uganda
What do you mean,
that you
Robert?
also
You
in.
know,
Kirabo is in
Let
Uganda
us
of matching,
be.
yeah,
You
but
know.
it's okay.
let
Yeah,
me tell you.
area code.
The only thing is we can advise Ugandans to go and get vaccinated so that they are safe. People, some places illegally opened.
But you know
Over
what?
the weekend, Felix, I want you to drive to a place called Nyonyintono. When you get to that place, go to
Kirabo,
Nalwoga. There's
don't tell us.
You're going to
Don't worry,
wonder.
area code.
Don't move around in all
Don't-
that.
you leave it at
No,
that.
you guys.
Robert, don't.
What?
It's
Why
okay.
for me? I'm not even concerned
So,
either we'll open or
let me
what.
just ask you a
I'm
question.
concerned for vaccination. People are already messing up like nothing.
Yeah, that may be your problem,
Yes.
by the way, alone.
So,
So,
for me, I think it's
okay?
vaccination. People already open in one way or
So
the other.
what's our message to all out there? Please go and get vaccinated. Thanks be to God, now the vaccines are here. And even we have had statements from the Ministry of Health that they will get expired if we don't actually. We know that we have Johnson & Johnson, we have Covax, we have Pfizer, we have, is it Moderna? All these, we have, I think, all the vaccines on the market. So please go get vaccinated so we can have our festive season. No more. I know one thing for a fact, that everything comes to pass. Nothing has ever hit humanity and extinct it. And this has come to pass. Anyway, talking about things that are happening, let us also be able to take a sneak peek into what's been happening, what also happened in terms of our local scene, international scene, and of course what's trending in terms of weather, nature, and environment. And I will be looking at our stories. That's with Robert and Priscilla.
And we'll begin with that is the High Court in this country, where yesterday the key suspect in the attempted assassination of General Katumba Wamala and his daughter was denied bail. That is the Criminal Division of the High Court declined to grant bail to Yusuf Nyanzi, one of the suspects in the attempted assassination of General Katumba Wamala and the murder of his daughter Brenda Nantongo and driver Haruna. The presiding judge, Paul Gadenya Mulimbwa, ruled that although he agrees with all the accused prayers, he could abscond bail. Following his arrest in an attempted murder of General Katumba Wamala, and the accused Yusuf Nyanzi filed an application in the Criminal Division of the High Court seeking to be released on bail. The presiding judge, Paul Gadenya, ruled in the application and said he could not grant bail to Yusuf Nyanzi. Justice Paul, ruling read by the Deputy Registrar of the Criminal Division, Festo Nsenge, showed that court was of a view that the applicant is likely to jump bail. The accused lawyer, Godfrey Tuliamusima, vowed to file another application in the International Crimes Division.
Government projects to spend 20 trillion Ugandan shillings to finance the gaps identified in the second report on implementation of Uganda African Peer Review Mechanism National Program of Action for July 2019 to June 2021. While officiating at the closure of the national validation of the report at Serena Hotel in Kampala, the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Jacob Olanya, cautioned the National Governance Council for APRM to validate things that affect the person down in the community. Uganda has spent 28.8 trillion shillings to finance the National Plan of Action for the implementation of the programs for the period 2019 to 2021. The four arms of government have held a national validation to review the second report of implementation, and the thematic areas on political governance, economic governance and management, corporate governance and sustainable socio-economic development form the last. The judiciary in the period under review boasts of improvement. The judiciary is also assured the government commitment to increasing their budget to 800 billion shillings by financial year 2024 to 2025.
And away from the judiciary, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has directed for the immediate sell-off of Kirabo mines, which have taken almost 40 years without operation. Through the Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, President Museveni directed the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development to expedite the bidding process to get potential advisors, potential investors. Since 1982, Kirabo Mines in Kasese District has been under care and maintenance without adding on the nation's economy. The Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, under the directive of the President, has taken on the assessment tour of the mines and directed relevant authorities to work on the bidding process of selling off the mines to ensure they are active and add to the nation's economy. The broken infrastructure in the mines is worrying, which requires the government to invest in rebuilding this structure for a potential injector of money. The current management of Kirabo Mines demands arrears of over 2 billion, which the government will have to clear before giving away the mines. The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, with the current management of the mines, heed to the presidential directive. On the 11th of May 2019, President Museveni directed the disposal of the mines, but the slow negotiations of the contract and uncertainty of the private sector investment in the mines, plus the changes in the economy as forecasted by COVID-19, could have hindered the successful process by then.
And lastly, on the local stories, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Katie Lamaro, has said that the ministry is planning to restructure the TVET delivery and assessment system. She was opening the third phase of TVET assessors at Uganda Industrial Research Institute. In the reforms, the TVET skills assessment bodies like Uganda Business and Technical Examination Board and Directorate on Industrial Training will merge and carry out an integrated assessment program. The ongoing government reforms are in the Ministry of Education sector, reviewing structures of different departments. The mini restructuring of the Directorate of Higher Education with focus on the TVET training with one skill assessment body for all formal and non-formal skills. This will harmonize training and assessment to make the graduates more relevant at the workplace. The Executive Secretary, Uganda Business Technical Examination Board, Onesmus Oyesije, says that 321 assessors have been trained, and at the end of this training, the participants will be verified in the assessment processes.
And of course, having looked at the local stories, we will now head to our international stories, and our first story is about COVID. While we see the virus may have killed at least 80,180 health workers, World Health Organization comes out to give a report. Now, COVID has severely affected the healthcare staff and may have killed between 80,180 in a report made by the World Health Organization. Healthcare workers must be prioritized for vaccines, and head Tedros Adhanom there came out to say and criticize the unfairness in the distribution of jabs. Death also occurred between January 2020 and May of this year. Earlier, another senior World Health Organization official warned a lack of jabs could see the pandemic continue well into next year. Now, there are estimated at least 135 million healthcare workers globally, and data from 119 countries suggests that on average 2 in 5 healthcare workers globally are fully vaccinated. Now, Dr. Tedros also confirmed, but of course, that the average masks huge difference across the region and economic grouping. And of course, fewer than 1 in 10 healthcare workers are fully vaccinated in Africa. He said also compared with the 8 in 10 in the high-income states. Now, still about international stories. United Kingdom, we see the Queen back to Windsor after hospital stay. Now, the Queen spent Wednesday night in hospital for preliminary medical checks and is now back at the Windsor Castle in Buckingham Palace, said the spokesperson there. Now, the 95-year-old monarch returned from the private hospital in central London lunchtime on Thursday and is in good spirit, the palace said, and added the Queen has cancelled a visit to Northern Ireland on Wednesday. She was given a medical advice to rest for a few days after a busy schedule of public engagement. Now, in a statement on Thursday night, Buckingham Palace said following medical advice to rest for a few days, the Queen attended hospital on Wednesday afternoon for some preliminary investigations, returning to Windsor Castle at lunchtime and remains in good spirit. Now back to Africa. Ethiopia launches 4th air raid this week in Tigray capital. Now, Ethiopia has said it had launched another air raid on Mekele, the capital of the war-battered Tigray, for the 4th such bombardment this week in campaign. It says it's targeting rebels' facilities. The latest attack was aimed at facility currently serving TPLF for military training, for government spokesperson Legesse Tulu told the AFP. Now, referring to the Tigray People's Liberation Front group and saying, however, it was unclear if the attack was successful, with the TPLF spokesperson Gatocho Rada telling APF as well that the air group defense unit managed to fail this mission. I can see it trying a third time, and we will see what will happen, he also added.
Well, and in terms of weather and climate, extreme heat in cities a growing problem as climate warns study finds. Now, the risk of extreme heat is a rising threat to fast-growing cities around the world, according to a new study published this month in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. As more people move into cities, the climate warns extreme weather could harm and kill more people, reduce worker productivity and hurt economies, the study says. Now, the urban poor are most at risk. The study, which assessed more than 13,000 cities from 1983 to 2016, found that global extreme heat exposure increased nearly 200% over that time period. Now, as a result of population growth, climate change, and the fact that city infrastructure absorbs more heat. Nearly a quarter of the world's population is in areas where extreme heat exposure is rising, the study says. Now, the study took a novel approach and used satellite data to measure heat worldwide, giving researchers a sharper global view of the problem. Now, the analysis reveals that many people flocking to the cities in rapidly urbanizing areas such as Southern Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa are coming to places that are increasingly vulnerable to the soaring temperatures and high humidity.
Stories that have been happening, of course, we'll be touching base with a couple of what the week has had in terms of news and current affairs. That will be done by Robert later on with Takali and Ivan. And of course, ourselves will be having to share what's been happening much more in terms of the job, in terms of the expectation. But of course, also there's a poll question for us where we want to engage you, our viewers out there. And being a Friday, it's something we want to get from you. What music do you listen to over the weekend and why? maybe the different kinds of music, and clearly you'll be shocked by how many types of music are there. And I think that's one of the things that Priscilla will tell us later on, because sorry,
Actually, teacher me.
yes, Priscilla.
No, during the course of the weekend, I saw on a friend's status recommendations of sad music, and I was like, sad music, like you want to listen to? So you know, I inboxed him and said, I'm sorry, did you mean sad music, or like what are you trying to say? Like, no, I actually want to listen to sad music. So I asked him, why do you want to listen to sad music? And you know, he told a story of a girl who broke his heart, so he needed to listen to a sad
How old is your friend?
Sad music. A young boy.
There's an age where hearts don't break anymore. Like, that's the thing, man.
You're talking about
those things are for high school.
Yeah.
Molin, can they still break your heart?
Of course, doesn't stop them from feeling things at
I'm
their
telling
age.
you, heartbreaks are real.
No, can they still break your heart?
and they still break your heart.
Is your heart still breakable?
I don't know about that, but I think I would get heartbroken.
Except
Except not the same way I would.
Clearly, Priscilla can.
And I like the context of Priscilla.
At this time, I'm stronger.
Yeah.
So even if someone were to break my heart, I think I would take it differently.
You would put it together.
Yeah, I would feel hurt, but I wouldn't cry over it.
But you would listen to some sad music to really keep the heart
Probably
broken.
some gospel music, just to make sure that I remind myself that the goal is heaven.
Has your heart-
Heaven is the
Is your heart
goal.
still breakable? Robert, honestly and truly.
Mitima Jack. I think it has done enough preparation, enough preps. It has been
broken enough.
and now we have
Like it has salt tape, it has drills,
it's been
injections,
it has
every
been
drill.
mended and,
Yeah.
and so
Stapling wire.
so right now I'll just say well.
Like,
I'm gonna
I'll just like Priscilla did it, Molin has done it. So it will come to pass.
There's this meme on social media, and they try to give you a picture and of a slap mark on some guy's back, and then down they put, when you ask your wife, like when you've been cheating on, to remove them, like to chase the mosquito off your back. And the guy, like the hand is visible there that there was a hot slap. So anyway, Priscilla,
Oh yeah, we do have some friends who are joining us from the diaspora, watching and streaming with us on our YouTube channel, which is UBC Television Uganda. Thank you so much to Ebu Jasper. You're saying good morning to all Ugandans. Well, on behalf of all Ugandans, good morning to you. We do have Omara Moses, who's also saying good morning, people of God. Well, good morning to you, Omara, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your morning. Equally on Twitter, we are going to be dropping some pictures, some selfies, a sunny morning, maybe wherever it is that you could be. It would be nice to hear from you. Hashtag UBCGMU on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at UBCTV Uganda. And obviously, we do have some comments on Twitter. And FYI, Dubai Expo 2020 is still going on. And Uganda Airlines is doing something tremendous. It's allowing you to carry some extra pieces that weigh each 23 kilograms. So you do the mathematics, you have really come back home with a lot of luggage free of charge. No transit cost, no nothing. All courtesy of Uganda Airlines. So fly to Dubai, enjoy the expo, come back with 3 pieces that are worth 23 kilograms each. But then elsewhere on Twitter, we get to look at some of you that are responding. Vince Kakoza, thank you so much for being a part of our good morning. We do have Wamala Jack, who is always with us on Twitter. We also do have Trill UG. Yes, at Trill UG. Thank you so much equally for being a part of our day to day. Of course, people are expectant of our guest, our surprise guest, and he comes with a very unique instrument that Ruben Pima Chibirango loves. Stella K, you're on Twitter, you're saying, this man right here makes you want to listen to sax all your life. Can't wait. Well, I have spilled the instrument, but who is the guest? We're yet to find out.
we're speaking about that. Now we'll have to take a break, and we will be back. The team will be back we'll be sharing a couple of experiences in terms of course, the poll question, but also trying to touch on two matters of national importance, as a brother has termed them. Most recent, the most important matter of national importance is vaccination. I hope you're getting vaccinated. Let's keep the numbers growing. I see people turning up in big numbers. Kudos to you. And we saw some campaigns by brewery companies, and clearly let's have more and more institutions jump onto the wagon so we can have most people in Uganda get vaccinated. Let's take a break. I will be back of course with my colleagues, and we'll be giving you what Friday has to offer.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations, Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, of course, being Friday, we do something quite special. That's why we call it Good Morning Uganda Special Friday. Now, it means, of course, there's something quite different from the normal drills where we see Priscilla donned in a blazer every Monday to Thursday. Today, she's donned in... you see Robert donned in a tie every Monday to Thursday. Today, he's donned in a black jacket and a white T-shirt. And, of course, myself... I don't know how to describe myself, but no, but it was very, very cold in the morning. I don't know if you noticed. Actually, it was cold throughout the night.
Yeah,
my dear, fashion.
I had
no weather.
on, I had a jumper on.
Yeah,
so
you put on
plus 2 bed covers,
and yet
so
you still feel cold.
Yeah.
The funny thing is
life
how
of single people. Hey.
So what?
Life of single
Is
people.
that you saying you're single?
Huh?
That's what it means.
Ah.
More than you.
A friend of mine was asking if she's single now. I think you don't have to ask me again. She said
friend of Molen,
please.
clearly Priscilla has 2 blankets every cold night. That explains her life.
Her situation.
But it was really, really cold, so probably we ended up putting on, and I wonder why Molen is not putting on a sweater. I don't know, but oh, she's from the land of the cold, so you must be used.
So she's skilled in this thing.
I am used. I think I'm just Ugandan by default. But I'm telling you, I could.
Right now.
I tell you,
when I think about my
ones.
DNA, I think now I probably have traces of maybe being
Iceland?
Spanish or something. I could be from Iceland.
Yesterday you were half Kenyan.
I did leave out some percentage that we can.
You said 99% Ugandan and 1% possibly Kenyan. Katyate, you're telling us
No. There is some 0.01% that I could be, maybe Spanish. My tolerance of this weather.
And only
is
Fiona
just
will
out of
understand
this
this one.
country.
Parenting. The challenges of parenting.
Please, the relatives of Molly, tell her where she belongs. We are tired of a new country every day. But anyway, much is happening this week, and so many things are happening. Again, we've had, it's been sort of like a marathon in terms of current affairs, and I know we always catch a glimpse of things that happen around us, but most recent is this whole thing of vaccination. We're going to leave from what happened in Nairobi. Kenyans have been at it. They have been hit by COVID, even probably worse than us. If you look at their death toll, their numbers, they registered, but yet they also live, they are able to get done with this whole curfew thing before us. We try to sort of like benchmark and look at, or try to understand the things that these guys did that probably we could do also to see ourselves get to the beam of this whole curfew thing and what, because this is not our life. I've been trying to find out how people are living. If you want to catch a total glimpse of how people have lived for this almost 2 years, they are what we call sweet, sour experiences. Some people have grown in terms of business, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of, and some people have fallen terribly bad. And probably that's where I want to start it off, and I'll start with you, Molen in particular. I would just want to get a comment from you about how do we as a country position ourselves to get out of this whole squeeze of the pandemic, like Kenyans did, other countries, Europe has done, you know. When, for example, for Priscilla, who watches a lot of football, you see the pitches. I was looking at the stadium when Ronaldo scored that third goal, and it seemed like there was no COVID. It was quite encouraging.
Yeah, people are already living life close to normal. I don't think that we can call it normal at this point, but at least they have taken a step to what is almost normal. So I think that is the idea of what we could be looking at. We have to fend for this. And this is all about discipline. I can tell you in the US, the moment vaccination was out there and open to the public, people were already crying for it. People already needed that vaccination. They knew it depended on that for them to be able to get that kind of life that they wanted, and they embraced it. And I think like when you talk about issues of curfew, really, this is something that was put in place to regulate and make sure people follow the SOPs. But we have come at a time where this is turning out to be an inconvenience to people's lives. And there is only one way out. We need to make sure that at least a bigger population is vaccinated. But this is also going to relate to our discipline. If we do not take that decision, go out there, get vaccinated, and look at big numbers, maybe that will prompt the Ministry of Health to now revise the setup SOPs, set up time frames for when we can lift curfew. Because the truth is that people are moving on. Like you talked about football, I know that Ugandans have loved to be also out there and prep grounds, watch the Uganda Cranes. We no longer do that. I know personally used to love watching the Uganda Cranes play. This is something that could come back, but it will have to take a lot of discipline, and to me that is key. If we do not take it upon ourselves, go get vaccinated and increase on the numbers, that Ministry of Health can now base on to say, okay, they will now advise for how we can lift curfew, how we can ease up on a lot of things that are already still in place when it comes to guidelines towards COVID-19.
Priscilla, do you see this happening? Do you see us getting anywhere closer to Kenyans? Do you think it's something, because some of our colleagues were just making fun out of it and saying that even in terms of lockdown, it was Kenya first, it was then Rwanda, then us. So I think it's a planned move by the presidents that I opened first. So I don't know.
It's East African collaboration.
Exactly, it's a remix.
Yeah, sample space is Kenya. They try it. If it works, then we can adapt it elsewhere.
So that's what's going to happen.
Well, I think that again, people's mindsets, in their own opinion, they could have verification for that. But when you look at the statistics, and the statistics do not lie, looking at the statistics vaccination-wise for Kenya as of the 21st of October, they have received 7,502,820 vaccines, and of those you have had first doses 3,416,746 6 first doses. That is a percentage of 36.8%. And then they do have a full vaccination of 1.3 plus million that are fully vaccinated, giving you a total of 4.7 million plus vaccination. And that is definitely a positive. If we're going to still look at statistics, when you look at the cases still as of 21st of October, which is yesterday, and again, the numbers also help to see where the challenge is actually right now. The numbers help us to achieve what we are trying to do here in Uganda, the mass vaccination. But of course, one of the challenges we're receiving here in Uganda is data collection and it being delivered in time. You could find that while they do have data as of yesterday, here in Uganda, we have data that we're still relying on of 2-3 days ago. And yet there's a lot that has happened in those 2-3 days ago. For yesterday in Kenya, new cases 67. They did record 5 deaths as far as COVID-19 is concerned, and then recoveries at 96 persons, and now accumulatively they're looking at 252,375 cases accumulatively. So you get to see that theirs has come down. Now, one of the things that Kenya has adopted is, yes, do the mass vaccination, but also ensure that the SOPs are followed by the law. You break it, you're punished. And curfew was one of those things in Kenya. If we all remember, around December last year into the beginning of this year, when it came to curfew and Kenya, especially in the capital, it was no joking subject. They find you, they put you in a cell. You have to pay for your sins. And you know, Kenyans, you know, love to have their drinks at anywhere. Of course, they're not allowed to have it publicly. They'd go to those specific places. But the law enforcing bodies were able to do their work diligently and daily to ensure that these particular SOPs must be followed while we're going out for mass vaccination, which is still befitting for us here in Uganda. It's still a challenge. The SOPs must be complied to. Giving a case scenario of the UK. In the UK, even if you're fully vaccinated from another country, you still will go through quarantine so that they make sure that you have not traveled with the virus into their country. That way you enter virus free, and they know that unless you contract it from the UK itself within the region, then coming out again, you'll be tested and you'll leave virus free. And that is where we need to actually do the tightening, that regardless of the mass vaccination, we still have to adhere to all these other complementary restrictions or standard operating procedures that will allow us to push COVID-19 further away from our country.
Well, of course, I'll ask Priscilla also probably in a short while to help us get some of the statistics probably of Uganda and how far we're doing and how far we've gone. But as she does that, I want to also engage Molly now on lifestyle. We know as a matter of fact that COVID-19 is more or by far an infection of lifestyle. For example, and that's why the president time and again has come out to say that there are things we can avoid, because the only messenger of COVID-19 is human beings. It's not an airborne disease. There's an aspect of touching, there's an aspect of greeting. There's basically contact. I remember listening to one of the local radios. I had one of my good friends, Pastor Pira Semarimba. He kept on telling people, there's a way he had this advert and he used to talk about kissing. He's like, man, I'm with a guy. This is not the right time to and he said that, you know, the people who invented kisses don't even kiss anymore. The people in France, kakati guata bimanyi over. So he basically same thing, brings us back to lifestyle. And that's why I want to ask you, Omolin, do you think our lifestyle as people in Uganda is helping the situation?
Well, I think it all comes back to the point of what we have been used to, because over time we have looked at scenarios. Ugandans are very, you know, party people, I want to say that for sure, but there is a lot that is changing and a lot has had to change. But guess what? It is something that we can adapt to. We are used to hugging. There are tribes here where, and I'll give Banyankole as an example, our greeting has always been by hugging. And it's just not normal for you to go home and not hug your mother or your friends. It has been a culture. Now, unlike mostly in Buganda here, where people kneel down and maybe you greet from a distance, and in Iteso, I know for sure that for example, if you're greeting your in-laws, you have to be a certain distance. So you can't be close. I think those have found it a little bit easy. But for us, in-laws or not, you just have to hug them. So I think that is where there's been a little bit of change. People have had to adjust from that kind of behavior that they're used to. But looking at the fact that this pandemic is here to stay, so all we can do really is just get used to it. Adjust to our lifestyle. Yeah, adjust to our lifestyles. And also the fact that we have had a strong local tourism as well. There are a lot of organizations having Ugandans move across the country in, such of adventure. Those are there, but I know for sure that that has also been affected, because now a lot of places that were easily accessible at a certain time, especially during the lockdowns, people couldn't go. So that has had to change. And let me tell you one thing. The moment that pattern kind of changes, it also relaxes you as a person. If you are used to traversing the country at least 3-4 times a year, and now with the lockdowns you went once, I'm telling you, even if they open up, you will have that lag. So you could be looking at 2 times in a year, someone who used to travel 4 times. So this is definitely going to change. I know for sure that we have had that relaxation that can't take us back to the normal that we knew, and that is definitely going to be life-changing. And then in terms of parties, weddings, I will talk about the weddings specifically, or the introduction.
I love the fact that Molly never leaves out.
Yeah,
parties.
because it is part of lifestyle.
And if you remember, well, she said something in her preamble, Ugandans love parties, and I'm thinking, Molly, speak for yourself.
No, but
anyway,
guess what? Guess what? Before, we used to have weddings where you have over 300 people. You have over 400 people.
Oh.
On weddings, I am telling you.
You've been to one like that?
Yes, I have been. Even,
You've never been to one
very
like
many
that?
people on weddings.
By
But
the way,
guess
I'm
what?
outgoing.
Yeah.
Actually come for those
But guess
things.
what? People have now looked at
Okay.
scenarios where you are with the guided SOPs, of course. Now you have to take, 20. We started with 20 at weddings, but now people are adjusting, 100.
200.
We can never go back to the 400. Myself, if I had to do a party right now, I now know for sure that, okay, you can have a wedding with just 20 people, and that's okay. So people have adapted to that, and I don't think we're going back to the 300s. That is for sure.
Wow. Molen is not going to call you for her wedding. You've heard on TV, you know that she wants 20 people.
You see, technology enabled these things. It's okay. We don't want your invitation. We can actually attend your wedding in our beds with our cups of coffee.
Is that still a wedding? Priscilla, what is a wedding without food?
Let me tell you a wedding in
You just
Uganda.
need a reverend to just, pronounce,
No,
like
a
you do
wedding
your
in
vows,
Uganda for us
your best
attendants
man.
who are
That's the
really not
thing.
so special to, or so close, or
I don't
family.
even need to know the bride
Listen
and
to
groom.
how it is a wedding for us. For us, we just come to talk about the food, the decor, the dress.
Niyo mugoli na yali.
Well put.
Akatete, kabuketenyo. I hear those things. Like you be going in the car.
That's
Then you
all
hear
we
your
talk
aunties.
Let me tell you, Felix, imagine on all the food Ugandans eat on a daily, and this country is blessed with a variety of food. They'll still be angry if they don't get food on your wedding.
And then,
they'll be mad.
let me just
Actually,
tell
they
you a
won't
story.
consider it a successful wedding if the food wasn't enough.
There's-
Yes.
Even if everything else is okay and there is no food, they will be like, tewari made
Now
it.
that you're talking, yeah, and
What's
it
the
sounds
story?
like
Yeah.
that's so true. But let me just tell you a story about with these old events. I have one of my very beautiful and loving aunties. She never forgets us, never. Even if they don't invite, she's like, "Atemufayo." She will bring you food, and cake, and balloons, and flowers. So if the party, she will bring the party to you. You don't get it.
No, wait. So you stay home, then
If they
she'll
don't
go.
invite, those things you say, Manyanga don't
no
bring kids.
children.
For us, you say, "Atemufayo." She will bring us food,
She will pack it.
cake, flowers, and balloons.
Indako.
So we are literally part of the function.
Out of curiosity, the food comes in Kavera, it comes
Over
in
how? Over how?
And this is the aunties who take away people's
Some
dishes.
comes in foil, some in it's called what? This paper. They call
Like
it
the silver
pants.
yeah, the chicken will come in a serviette, the rice will come. So
Yeah,
she used to
Felix
call her
is
Mama
auntie.
Betty. She's going
Yeah, she's so lovely.
Mama Betty, thank you so much for really
So if you don't want to
having
call
a
us for
good-
a function, we send you our
Mama
soldier. But anyway, Priscilla, you're going to give us an update on how we're doing in terms of the vaccination drive
Okay.
in Uganda.
All right. As far as vaccination drive in Uganda is concerned, 2 days ago we received over 700,000 doses of Sinovac, and it was donated to us by the Chinese government to Uganda, which is pumping up the mass vaccination drive that we are undertaking right now. But given the last update that we do have from the Ministry of Health as of 19th of October 2021, tests conducted are now to the tune of 1.761,622, and the new ones are 3,320. You do have new cases registered by the 19th of October being 81, and that gives us a test positivity rate of 0.8%. And then as of the 19th of October, we have registered one new death, which is Obgaro to us. We are doing a good job in this whole fight against COVID-19. Now, on to the mass vaccination. Ministry of Health is doing some tremendous, campaigns out there. There's a campaign I saw that was quite interesting, and it was a boy asking a girl out on a date, and the girl said, "Oh, darling, that's very fine, but are you fully vaccinated?" "I only go out with fully vaccinated guys." Yeah, you have to target audience. This is what we were talking about, targeted communication to the different masses. Focused.
Let everyone be covered.
Exactly.
Don't come with this whole advert and encouragement.
Elderly.
Then you bring the elderly.
You get teachers.
Like, involve everyone. Make it cool, like the girl says these days.
Exactly. So Ministry of Health did hear that plea, and they're definitely doing focused target sensitization to different masses. But as for the national-wide mass vaccination that is out there, this very weekend we're going to have different locations for the COVID-19 vaccination. Chadondo Rugby Club this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday. Laventi Lounge and Kitchen in Nigeria will also be hosting a vaccination drive. Samito Lounge in Nadia, so people who stay in Nadia, please go to Samito Lounge. You do have Chitawuruzi in Mbuya. And then you also do have Mutungo Parents for people that actually stay Mutungo, Bina, Zila. You can go to Mutungo Parents. Then you do have Kalinabili Primary School that is also having a mass vaccination for people within that community. Naguru Remand Village Grounds are also going to be having a COVID-19 mass vaccination. Please remember, go with your national ID or go with some sort of identification. No, village identification from your local council would also be highly recommended for you to get access to these vaccines. And for those that are going back for your second dose, you have to go back with your card that you were given for your first dose so that they can give you exactly the first dose. So if you got Moderna on the first one, then you have to get Moderna on the second one. It's not that you get Moderna first and then you get AstraZeneca on another one. Luzira Secondary School is also another place that you can actually get vaccination, and Chambogo University Medical Center is also a place for people that are on Chireka, Banda, where you get it. You can come to Chambogo University Medical Center and get yourself a vaccination. The target is 4.8 million. We hit that, and the president will be back to address us. Before that, please, he has better things to do.
Clearly, but of course, for now, we must also remind our guests that our featuring guest, I think Amazigam Sazeko, like the word is having a situation in movement. We hope he swims from wherever he is to here. And that's the issue we normally talk about floods in this city and our area codes. But anyway, as we wait for him, if he makes it here anyway, we'll be able now to still touch base and just to touch base with my sisters here. Lastly, what is that one thing you can't wait to do? And this time I want to start with Molen, because I may guess what she has to say. If the lockdown was lifted today and the president came, you know miracles happen. Like they happened in Nairobi, they can happen for the kids of Israel in Uganda. So if the president comes and says, Watu wa Uganda, the way he says those hours, Juma siku, what? What is the first thing you would want to do, Priscilla? What is the first thing you would do?
Honestly, I don't think there's anything in particular I would want to do.
It's normal for you.
Yeah, it's normal for me. I think given the trickery of being essential workers, that changes things, one. So you don't really get to miss out on a lot because you're always on duty for somewhat reasons. So not much has changed. Also, lifestyle has changed. Now, so, you know, the mindset is very, very interesting. Do it for 21 days and it's definitely going to adjust. Yeah. And we have done this for over a year, so the mind has adjusted.
That's what we talked about earlier. There are things that we have now gotten used to that we think they are normal now.
Let me just put the same question to Molen.
Yeah.
Imagine Jaja comes out and says,
curfew.
Kapa.
Over. Well,
even the woman is saying curfew.
Over.
It clearly shows you the first thing.
Yeah, but guess what? There is one thing that has been bothering me. So you know, like I have relatives around town, and whenever you visit in the evening, you keep watching, like, okay, what time is it? Like, you can't settle properly. You're just looking at the time because you don't want to be caught by curfew. But guess what? Now that is there, you can relax, have those old stories, even talk to mama, you know, in the village and be like, hey, so what is going on? Have all these stories overnight. No, I'm like, because now you're doing it together.
Hazuri's had coffee. Even if it's 2 a.m., you go like, guys, I need to go. So
but you could go overtime. That's the thing. Because before,
the first thing you do is visit your relatives and stay there.
No, that's not what I mean. But
so
like
for the
first time, I don't have to look at my watch and be like, okay, I'm going to be caught by curfew. I just have to relax and
any other
settle
thing
in.
you would do just for you?
No, I don't see a lot that, and like Priscilla also put it, the fact that, you know, being an essential worker, a lot of things you've been doing, so it comes. I know you're disappointed. I think he imagined I would say, I would.
Back to music.
Molen and I have something she unveiled this week. I know she would be dying to unveil it somewhere else, so she's lying that. But anyway,
wasn't that like behind the scenes?
But anyway,
we also want to know our viewers probably what is the first thing you would do? What would you want to do if they opened up this country? What is that one thing you can't wait to do? And of course, on top of that, looking at our poll question and try to understand exactly what kind of music you listen to over the weekends and why. And let me start by asking Molen. Priscilla was trying to give us the different types of music, probably for our viewers also to understand which one to pick to. But let me just rush into Molen quickly before we get to Priscilla. What kind of music do you listen to over the weekend and why?
There is a discipline that comes with weekend. I think like it's time to relax and just think about being in the presence of God. Usually I go for the gospel music. But guess what? I always look out for...
Why now?
I am full of surprises. You guys, let me tell you one thing. I love country music. So even when I'm going gospel, I look out for the country music, especially with Saturday.
Any artists you pick on particular?
Usually just the old school music. You know, talk about mostly just country, but for gospel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Priscilla.
There's no such thing.
Anyway, leave my Molen now. Me and Molen, no.
All right. Well, Saturday morning, you start off with the day with a bang. So it's immediately, whatever time I wake up, but unfortunately, given, again, the nature of work that we do, you find yourself waking up like at midday, 1 o'clock. Yeah. But anytime I wake up on Saturday, the first thing I do is put on some like heavy music. So it has to be like dance hall or hip hop, something that's going to just get me what's that? It's you know, bouncing. Exactly, that's the word. Anyway, some reactions here. Good morning to you, UBC. I'm Ochom from Wakiso, and I like to listening to slow Lingala, like Sweet Elizabeth.
Sweet Elizabeth, where did you go?
Yeah.
I love that song. I love that song.
Okay.
Yeah, right. and also Oliver Ngoma has a lot of those.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's that? Say that again. Who's
Ochom.
that? Ocho man,
Yeah.
you're the man. You're the man. That's the thing.
He understands
Me and my late grandfather used to listen to those songs like every day in and out.
All right.
So I know the feeling.
We do have Oscar who's saying hello, and they're still typing the kind of music that would really kickstart their weekend. We'll get to know more of that feedback tomorrow. GMU Sunday, Kadongo Kamu, between 10 and midday. And then Sunday, 7 to 9 a.m., Anglican hymns. Sergeant
Kadongo
Bernard.
Kamu. Do you know the Kadongo Kamu song, Priscilla? I'm paying for that song.
Even
Every
if-
song you say, I give you
if
a 20
pull out
bob.
dollars, yens,
Okay.
naira, nothing.
Let me give you just 6 songs and make sure you remember them next time someone has to offer. You, I know you know. Yeah, I'm sure. But they're very nice. We have very nice, and Ruben probably also help me when he comes for sports later on. We will have classified and classical artists in terms of Kadongo Kamu. My brother there could be knowing. We have the late Paul Job Kafero, the Hammond Basudes of this world, the Sevatas of this world, the Kabuye, Mboga, Dani Mugula. They had very nice songs in Kadongo Kamu. So clearly now, and Sunday, and here's the right time, Sunday morning. Ooh, bula dinner ndiba koya, you know, nantabulirirwa basi dunia.
I think the not the modernized version, but the again. I think for me the equivalent of Kadongo Kamu would be not country, roots reggae.
Oh,
Yeah,
reggae is good.
roots.
And
that definitely, that's music that is to the soul. You know?
oh yeah, reggae. You see, even the background of reggae music was like it was music that would be in Luganda we say kubagiza, like to put you together in bad times. That's why you see they talk about Africa and they talk about background. They talk lots about themselves.
Yeah.
If you listen to the likes of Bob Marley, Lieutenant Stitchie, Goofy Williams, and those old people.
Yeah, that is okay. All right.
Even the now Terrace Rally is still...
Terrace Rally is doing good, yeah. You're very right, you're very right. But of course, most recently now we have various reggae artists and the kind of reggae music they do.
Of course, Molin would know terrace because terrace, grass, what, nature.
Oh, there's an aspect of nature. Okay. But anyway, much of that is what we want to hear from you guys out there. Share with us the kind of music you love to listen to and why, and which particular music moves you. Myself, I love to listen to local music. I have a great passion for local music because I feel that these guys have broken the odds, and we have some nice content to listen to that we can relate with easily. We've been dancing to a song called Weekend earlier, you saw, and clearly everyone, Fridays, it's a tune of Friday, it's a jam of Friday. Everyone is singing about weekend, talking about to party Friday, and then they start asking about the lyrics of rotating. And anyway, let's take a break. Robert will be back here with his team, and they'll be definitely taking us through what's been happening.
We're going to be rotating around the week, really.
Yeah, Robert will be rotating around the week with that is Rachel and Ivan. So let's take a break. Do not go away.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to the home of our stars. Come on in. We have our movies, gossip, reality, conflict, tulinane comedy. Basirebo baffe bonna live right here. Because no matter where you go, this is the home of our stars.
This year, as Power Magic Mix 3, we are delighted to invite you to see, experience, and celebrate with us. Power Magic, the home of our stars. Multi-Choice Uganda is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Vaccinated today so we can get closer to the normal way of life. Echa COVID-19 chija kugwa.
Together with one of Uganda's largest companies. Apply for MTN shares for as low as 100,000 Uganda shillings. And when you apply using MTN Mobile Money, you get 10 free extra shares for every 100 shares you apply for. Dial *165*65# or use the MyMTN app to apply now. The terms and conditions of the offer and other important information are set out in the prospectus. For assistance, visit any MTN service center or Stanbic Bank branch countrywide or a licensed broker.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
Patriotic, Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co-Uganda, Office of the President.
We are here to launch this facility. We've launched it. I am appealing to you, our staff, don't make this a quiet effort. We want it operational, running and functional.
The purpose of the center is to ease the pressure on machinery and equipment that are used mainly on farm, and then for production, value addition and processing.
So I am happy that by September, the facility, which is a mechanical center, training center, holding yard, will be operational.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by.
Their job is to keep you and me healthy and well. But sometimes they try in vain.
Was brought to you by
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go. MTN.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's a Friday, and of course, every Friday we make sure, much as we usher you into the weekend, give you that weekend, also give you a recap of what dominated the print, that is also the electronic media, and definitely some element of the social media. Look at stories that have made headlines in these various fronts of communication. Once again, I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono, and with the team, that is the lady Rachel Takali. I must say, you're looking very, very smart.
Thank you.
And of course, the field man, that is Ivan Kahwa. Ivan, good morning.
Good morning to you, Kirabo.
How was your week gone?
My week has been okay. We've been operating, but I think I was disturbed by the mob justice that took place in, is it Mengo, that Lunguja. It is so unfortunate, and over time we have we have given a deaf ear and a blind eye to the operations of borders. And I read somewhere yesterday there is another, is it a security person who was dumped in a trench, and it was still border guys in Kansang, I think that's the area. So it's really something we really need to look into as a country. Otherwise, the number of motorcycles in the CBD and the way they operate without even being regulated, it is something that we need to really concentrate on as a country.
Unfortunately, there have been a number of attempts by KCCA, by government. Right now, if I remember the proposal, the borders would have long ago been streamlined. So, but every time there's an offense or some outstanding crime, that is when we hear the voices come up. You are going to regulate, you are going to designate stages, give them uniform, do all these special number plates, digital, whatever. By the end of the day, none sees the light of the day. Yes, Rachel, when we talk about this week that we just bring to an end, how has it gone?
It's been okay. I think for me, my low point is the Pristine massacre, who's now accused of inciting a mob to kill a man who may have wanted to steal something from this priest. It's not very clear. This man is said to have broken into the priest's car and hidden in there. The community vigilantes took him on and beat him to a pulp until he was taken to a hospital in critical condition. But that is the mob justice that we are talking about. But this priest is now accused of having incited this group of people to actually conduct this wicked act. He may not be guilty of this, but it's disheartening if indeed he did this. So that's where we are as a country.
Well, I may not differ so much. To me, this very week we had KCCA councillors, about 3 of them, that moved downtown to officially launch the reopening of that is the old park, which should have been opened. I think it has been postponed now 2 times, the actual opening. So where I got heartbroken is when I saw this police officer that hanged on like a mobile cell, the truck, and slid off. And instead of the public, because I had moved that side as a journalist, you know, when such issues are happening, but there was excitement, there was happiness, because a police officer has fallen off. That's kind of jubilation. I'm like, where's the moral fabric of this country? This is someone's father, someone's husband, and on duty.
I think that was a judgment depending on what was being done before the police officer fell. So as we are, trying to ascertain why the excitement, if everything was done in the proper way, perhaps they would have felt remorseful. But if that's how it is, then the police needs to do something about cleaning its own name.
Yeah. Definitely. But Well, it all rotates around morals, and most times that's why I refer to Rachel as the woman or the lady of morals. And today it is very evident the Africanacity in her dress code this morning, as of course we are still in the week of celebrating 59 years of independence, and we are trying to bring out more so the Africanness in us, and of course that independence. But well, let's look at some of the stories that really dominated that is both the print and electronic media, and we will begin with a report by the IGG, that is Bet Kamya, when she was handing it over to the Speaker of Parliament, that clearly indicates that our beloved country Uganda loses every year, that is 20 trillion Uganda shillings to corruption. That is about half of our budget this financial year. And when you look at a report by Transparency International, Uganda is ranked 142 out of 180 countries in terms of corruption, second in East African region, and this continues. All reports actually indicate that we are not doing very well in terms of fighting corruption. Rachel, we have fairly good laws, we have institutions, but it seems this vice continues to linger around. And what is very annoying also is we fail to track this ghost. Why do I refer to it as a ghost? Because the IGG's reports always are clear. The Auditor General, today we've lost, this money goes missing, that amount of money goes missing. But at times we fail to arrest if there is evidence of money missing, and we can't get who has stolen this money. Which ghost is witch hunting Uganda?
I think I'd like to start with a biblical reference. It says, where your treasure is, your heart is also. The fact that the fight against corruption is starved of money speaks volumes. The IGG is on record having, they're always lamenting. They don't have manpower, they don't have resources to actually do this job. And so I find it very interesting.
Actually, while handing over this report, she said for the last 4 years, government has not given money to our office in terms of investigation, prosecution, and recovery of assets from the corrupt. It has been by the Democratic Governance Facility, which was first suspended. And because of that confusion now, they don't have money for this.
I think that answers your question. This country does not want corruption to go. I don't know why that is the case, but I think simple maths would lead us to that conclusion. There is nothing that can move without resources, without willpower, without the force especially of the executive. So I think this discussion does not need much scrutiny beyond the fact that it has never started. There's never been any fight against corruption. We are waiting for the starting date. And we hope that it will come soon. The efforts have been half-hearted. There is no real stomach to move this ghost. I don't know why. That is why when IGG Kamya took this particular concern to Parliament, I like Honorable Lanya's approach. He likes to cut to the chase. He said, please, Mama, deal with your office first. There are people who have really gotten a name for themselves as being top-notch corruptions moguls, if you will. So please deal with those first, dispatch them, then we can talk about what you're saying. That brings me back to the point that the fight against corruption has not begun. It has not been seriously considered anywhere, not in the cabinet, as far as we know, because we would see the resources, we would see the willpower. This country has significant coercive power. I think we've seen that when it comes to politics. Recently, they launched a battle wagon. May that be used for corruption. May it be used to knock down some buildings. May it be used to... The coercive forces need to be brought to bear. You see, corruption, if it's taking half the budget, what are we waiting for? You saw what happened on the waters. The fisheries industry was brought to its knees by illegal fishing. The weight of the state has been brought to bear on the waters. There's been a turnaround. There's been a revival in the fisheries. The catch is really what it should be. as opposed to only premature fish. So I am waiting for that same willpower, that same coercive element, because this is not for the courts. The courts are slow and they are also compromised. This one is for a short chain of command, and the powers that be knows which forces can do that.
Ivan, when Rachel talks about the will, we have institutions. This very week we saw the First Lady, who happens to be the champion ambassador for integrity in terms of the fight against corruption, launch, that is this year's 2021 anti-corruption campaign. That was, I think, at State House. We've seen institutions, the IGG, Anti-Corruption Unit of State House, police as a full directorate, we have the Anti-Corruption Court. We have all it takes for this country, I want to believe, to fight corruption. However, when you look at the theme of this year's, when they were launching it, it brings for active participation of people from grassroots to fight corruption. It's more like take corruption away from where you're seeing it as in top government offices. Let's go down to the grassroots. It involves everybody. Do you think in Uganda it's only people maybe who don't benefit from corruption who talk about corruption? Because like Jacob Olanya said while receiving that report, it was like corruption is with us in our homes, in our schools, in church, even accused church, for blessing these people, praying for them, accepting this amount of money. It seems it may no longer be a battle for those in government, but it involves everybody. Do you succumb to that school of thought?
I think everyone defines corruption their own way. Corruption affects us differently. I may get a token of appreciation, but my neighbor will say you've been corrupted, depending on what he or she wants to perceive. And to me, I may define it in the other way around. Even in churches, they will tell you anofatore, seed, you know, but some other person, maybe perhaps the one who doesn't go to church, will say that is being corrupt. Being prayed for, you have to pay a certain amount of money. You're made to line up depending on the money you have. But anyway, these are social concepts that we have to deal with in society, and for those who did sociology, we all need this society to move on. Imagine where there was no corruption. I mean, do you have people who are there to fight corruption itself? Is it something that we can really fight and it goes away? To me, I believe it's a very big no. Kirabo, they tell you 21 trillion, half of the budget being lost every year. How much of that money has been recovered by all these bodies that we have in place? It is quite very critical. So, as you tell us the magnitude of the money we lose in terms of corruption, we need to know, fine, this is what is happening. If you say you do not have enough funds to propel you to investigate such cases, security gets a lot of money. You've mentioned it, police as a directorate, and I believe the money that is injected into the security can as well help in that aspect. So if the State House Anti-Corruption Unit does not have money, at least the budget for the judiciary was enhanced a little bit. It can help in the process of handling these specific cases, and even police itself in the investigation. So I don't think it should be a blanket statement that all the institutions in charge of fighting corruption in this country are actually crippled. One should be higher than the other in that term. But it's all about working, these institutions working together. And mind you, when you even talk about our laws, you know, what is the primary inconveniencing factor of corruption? I remember telling you, someone might eat the money that is supposed to construct Karuma, you know, Karuma Hydro Dam, even you're seeing buildings that are falling, even that is part of corruption. But this time it may not be the manager, the corruption might be the person who is mixing the cement.
Actually, giving that example, there is an incident that First Lady talked about while launching the campaign. She said that one time she was taken, I think, to launch. That is a dam, and government had spent an amount of money she never mentioned twice on that project. And all she found was midway, that is in a bush, and there was no dam. But the question is, we've seen some people, the likes of, I think it's Godfrey Kazinda, former accountant officer of the Prime Minister. We've seen the likes of Jimmy Ramaphosa. We've seen the laws we can say are weak. The institutions we can say maybe don't bite enough have been able to get a few big fish.
You see, the law sometimes holds some people in the nest. You see, when you
so we say these are sacrificial lamb, they are just not smart.
Not that if I am implicated into corruption scandals, the moment I am free and I keep operating in society, I will whistle blow, and many people will bump into trouble. So the better way, the law will come and catch up with you, and you'll be silent. You're imprisoned, you're quiet, but the real thieves are actually outside. So people are paying for the atrocities of those who are outside under that innocence kind of presumption. And I think this is what we need to do it. We have reached in a place whereby even a whistleblower, you may end up being corrupted as well. You're going to report a case not knowing that the corrupt person himself is where you're going to report your case. And they will advise you now, Mkulu, why are you suffering? Recently, I have a friend of mine who is chasing up some papers in the Attorney General's office, and this is evident, so anyone can quote me. She's being asked for money right from every office. Let it be a letter, let it be a stamp. You have to pay to propel issues, but you want to address a problem and you're minting a lot of money. But because it's you who needs that service badly, it's benefiting you, you tend to ignore the fact that you are actually giving people a bribe for them to give you a service. I think we really need to streamline the better way on how government institutions can really operate so that we can move on. But fighting corruption alone by just mere talking, marching, creating themes every year, I don't think it will really take us further. Let's get those culprits, let them be arrested, let them be named and shamed. And it's so unfortunate that even the Fourth Estate, that is in better position to name and shame these people, are also victims of this specific kind of corruption. So it's an entire chain. No one can be out of it.
Well, it's an entire chain, but it calls for us, first and foremost, to know that the seeds we sow today will one day catch up with us. I remember of a doctor who is my friend, and he's now a retired doctor. I think he's around 70s. So one time he fell sick, and one of his sons outside, because he had the money, so he was able to educate the children. But then now 3 of them is what he has, and they're abroad. So he calls me and tells me, take Dad to hospital. So this retired doctor was very confident that there were drugs, certain things would get them free of charge, much as the children had sent money. So we reached somewhere. Every time I would come back and tell him, Bagala, where is it? So he's like, no, it can't be. This is supposed to be free.
What year did you retire?
About 7 years back. Or 10. I'm not very sure when he retired, but he's retired. So now I was driving him back home. He told me, Robert,
so why is he surprised?
I told him what? He said, when I was in a hospital, I want to mention again, this, that, cleaners moving with that. He went narrating certain things. So, fellow Ugandans, at a certain time, all this may catch up with you. When you think you stole for your kids and they're well off, it may catch up with you. So let's build a better Uganda. And of course, you know, it is hard to swindle money. It is syndicate corruption. Whereas 3 of us are, that's why investigation becomes hard. That you have Ivan, Rachel is part of the thing, I'm part of the thing. So what happens? We protect Ivan, because if we don't protect Ivan, we are going to be exposed. But if I choose not to be part of this chain, then the Ivan, the Rachel will not get that money.
Sometimes it's hard.
Sometimes it's hard.
When you look at the economical aspect, that's where the biggest problem
But you
is.
see, everything goes with sacrifice. We need tough laws, we need the political will, and we need to all condemn corruption. Gone are the days when you'd go back, Ivan, you've worked for 1 year, and you're driving a car, and your father says, I will not be part of that vehicle. Today we just rejoice and someone mugezi. So the moral fabric, the laws in place, the will, and appreciating 20 trillion, almost half of our budget, is really a lot of money that we must together as a country not only talk about these reports, get the impact, and work towards changing and transforming Uganda. Well, another story that really made headlines this week was that is a government coming out and with a proposal to ensure that now teachers are of a degree level. And they will be now studying for 4 good years. 3 years, and the 4th year will be for internship, where someone will have to do practice, enough practice, then will be accredited and given a practicing license by the council that is yet to be set up by an act of parliament. And I'll begin with Rachel. When we return after this short break, we want to analyze first and foremost What is the impact of this education sector? Is it going to give us better outputs for the education sector? And what does it mean to the teaching fraternity? Return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to the home of our stars. Come on in. We have our movies, gossip, reality, conflict, tulinane comedy. Basirebu baffe bonna live right here. Because no matter where you go, this is the home of our stars.
This year, as Power Magic Mix 3, we are delighted to invite you to see, experience, and celebrate with us. Power Magic, the home of our stars. Multi-Choice Uganda is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Vaccinated today so we can get closer to the normal way of life. Echa COVID-19 chija kugwa.
Together with one of Uganda's largest companies. Apply for MTN shares for as low as 100,000 Uganda shillings. And when you apply using MTN Mobile Money, you get 10 free extra shares for every 100 shares you apply for. Dial star 165 star 65 hash or use the MyMTN app to apply now. The terms and conditions of the offer and other important information are set out in the prospectus. For assistance, visit any MTN service center or Stanbic Bank branch countrywide or a licensed broker.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you for keeping it with us. We are still looking at stories that have dominated the print and electronic media, plus social media. That is a bit of electronic this very week. We've looked at that is regarding, of course, some of the happenings. And now I want to focus on another story, which is very clear that teachers or all students that are going to enroll in Uganda to train as teachers, effective 2021-22 academic year, will study for 4 years instead of 3 years, according to the Ministry of Education. Now the changes coincide with the elimination of grade 3 and grade 5 certificate and diploma teacher courses, respectively, in line with the 2019 teacher policy that Cabinet approved to standardize, that is the education profession in this country. This will now phase out what it has been previously, where teacher training colleges would admit mainly senior 6 leavers and award them with diplomas, plus then the PTCs would admit those of senior 4 and then award them with certificates. Rachel, when we look at the education sector, more so now teachers, no doubt there are surveys that have been conducted sometimes and have been indicating how some teachers were not able even to pass ordinary mathematics of primary level, yet they were teaching in primary. So here the ministry looks at it as ensuring the outcome of the education system are better because the teachers are well trained. Dr. Dennis Mujimba, the spokesperson, says 4 years, a full year of practice before one qualifies, because they have had several teachers who have qualified, but because they have not had enough experience to go to the teaching, they have the degrees, but then they don't have hands-on, they are more theoretical. So now this whole 1 year will enable, eliminate this.
I think that many of the things that are done in this country, they are well, they mean well, but the way they're executed is usually poor. And so in this particular case, it's a good thing to raise the level of education for our teachers. I think there's nothing wrong with that. However, if you now require that graduates man every classroom, we expect that as government, you'll also raise the bar concerning your obligations to them. You see, that is where the problem comes. Because I don't expect that at the end of 4 years, they'll still be talking about the same salary structure. Those are things that cause problems. We're talking about investment in, for example, the infrastructure, the labs, and you may need projectors now, and you need more computers. You know, when someone is at graduate level, they're not a certificate holder. They require more. But so I'm hoping that government is also preparing to meet them halfway. I don't think anybody can stop the government from carrying this out. It's not in itself a bad thing. But if you don't have what it takes to actually sustain what you're doing, that is really where we run into problems at the end of the day. Remember that many of these people will also be absorbed, the vast majority, by the private sector. I have to tell you, Mr. Kirabo, that nearly 100% of pre-primary school classrooms are in private sector.
Government is not involved anywhere in that, yes? It's 100%,
almost 100%. Yes. Then 84% of all classrooms in the primary school category are in the private sector. Then 77% of secondary schools, classrooms, are in the private sector. Private sector is struggling very, very horribly as we talk. How are they going to make sure that they have the capacity to absorb and actually meet the expectations of these people? You know, 4 years is not a long time. The government has not responded very well to the concerns of the private sector. They have been begging to be listened to. They have been begging for interventions. You know what they're asking for this time? They're asking for loan facilities. Many of these schools are up for sale. So I really do not hear a decisive intervention being planned by the government. If most of the education facilities moving forward, even at this present day, are in the private sector, how will it be enhanced when the proprietors are struggling?
And even when we look at, and this is why I want to bring in Ivan. Ivan has ever taught, actually. Yes.
In nursery school?
No. So Ivan, let's understand this. One thing, it takes the law to be in place, but also it takes something else for the law to be implemented properly. The private sector, how many, teachers in the private sector, if you will teach in this school for maybe 1 year, not paid, move to another school, not paid, payment is a problem. What does this mean to the teaching profession? Away from looking at the quality of the outcome, because these are degree holders, what does it mean to those going into this profession now? Already COVID-19 I think, has sent a message to the would-be or those that desire to be teachers in case of a similarity. You're already seeing now, this is a sector that has greatly been hit. What does it mean for those, maybe the numbers, first and foremost, that how many students now, if they are giving in selection of desired courses, would opt for teaching at such a time? Let's look at the impact on the profession.
The first bit, do they need to study for 4 years? Have you made an assessment that studying for 3 years or even the 2 has actually failed? Has it contributed to the problems we are seeing depending on the type of people that are enrolling out from universities, the kind of people in the employment sector? Is there a chain of impact arising from the fact that these guys were not being taught for 4 years? That to me is really very critical. And nowhere, Kirabo, if you went to rural setups, the kind of people who teach those schools are technically the rightful people supposed to. Because you're not, I'm saying technically. Okay, because no one is going to pick a teacher from maybe CBD, where the exposure to materials that propel their mind to think so sharply, you know, take him to maybe Kabong in a certain primary school where the issue of salary is a problem, students are not wearing shoes, you know, in that kind of situation. So that's why I say the person in the rural setup is even comfortable to wake up and first go and dig. That is just the setup, the village setup. So you cannot get someone from here that you go to Kwen to teach a primary school because you're teaching a primary school here in Kampala. It's really very, so that's why I say the distinction, there is a difference between the teachers who teach in certain geographical locations and others. So if you elevate all of them under one blanket to go through the same process, Kirabo, we're going to find a very big problem. We might reach a point whereby even teachers will refuse to go and teach in places that are not appealing. Like, you're taking me to that government school? No. I would rather prefer to remain in Kampala, where there is, you know, I can do this and this and this. So I think all in all, there needs to be a clearly well drafted and written strategy that can help propel the teachers to that level. And do you also want to mean that all the teachers who teach our students actually went to study teaching? I doubt if that is the case.
And actually, the reverse is also true. Do you want to mean that all that studied education and teachers with the degrees are teaching?
That is also the other
Won't
thing.
we create now a vacuum where a teacher gets a degree as a qualification, but then it opens them to other opportunities, and we may have a vacuum in terms of teachers?
Because technically, if I am a journalism, that's my profession, I'm a journalist, I've spent quite a number of time in the field. If Makerere University or any other school comes, for example, where I studied from at Ndeje, they were even recruiting the same students they taught to come and teach. For as long as you had
actually,
a first
it's a policy
class
of
degree.
many universities. You have your first class degree, you're just polished. And
sometimes we have tutors or teachers who have expertise, and this is where we need to really concentrate.
Where government is moving now to that also, that is no longer going to be, because you must have had training that is in teaching.
Let alone that, Kirabo, do you want to say you're going to refuse a senior engineer who has constructed Karuma to come and teach people in Makerere University simply because he did not go to study teaching?
He doesn't have the basics of teaching.
That's your assumption.
He may have the information, but how you pass into that, according to, that is the 2019 National Teachers Policy agreed by the cabinet.
Someone,
is very clear. That is
someone at Kiramotos who is assembling the bus. If you tell me that person does not have the basics to go and teach a university student how to assemble a bus, but you need someone who is theoretically upright in that operation, there is a very big problem.
Do you think teaching is automatic? Do you know how many people have the knowledge but they can't communicate it to the next person? Teaching is an ability. For some people it is natural, but for most of us it's not. So to say that everyone who has the technical know-how can basically communicate it to the next person is not accurate.
No, I would agree with you to some extent, but believe you me, the aspect of the practicability we're always pushing for. We always talked about being given theory and etc. Same applies to all professions. For 2 years, 3 years, you're busy writing same things.
That's why they're telling you, please go to practice for 1 year.
For 1 year is there. But also, briefly, as we summarize this in the interest of time, I want us to look at the challenges in the education sector. Are they attributed to unprofessionalism in the teaching fraternity? Rachel?
I think it's a mix. Because, you know, the problems are, they are diverse and they're deep.
For example, when we come out and so that we have students or people who graduate and they don't have, and they are not employable because they lack the skills, would we attribute that to teachers? Maybe they're not qualified enough, or they have not had basic training in how to teach and pass on knowledge?
No, it's a combination of things. For example, you were talking about corruption. Corruption is, by the way, not just monetary. If you get to a situation where a well-heeled student, and you know, we really don't have to hide this fact, these things happen, where you pay people to sit your exams. You know this to be true. So if such a person has had someone sit all the exams, they definitely cannot perform at the end of the day. So these corruptive tendencies have permeated all of society, and they impact things that you have not even begun to think about. So it is not necessarily the problem of the teacher. There is also someone in the administration block who enables this, who makes, there are people, for example, at university campuses who sleep in hostels and they're not students. That is also corruption. There is someone in the states division who has people there that give money to this institution, supposedly, but that money ends up with him, not with the institution. So I am trying to say that the problem is in a lot of places, not just one.
Finally, Ivan, on this, when you look at the problems facing the education sector, because this would justify, much as this was agreed by Cabinet, that is way back 2019 as the National Teachers Policy, and this was included. Do we really, if you are to look at the cause for this, is it justifiable?
To me, I think it would be a good move if well strategically, you know, followed in that regard. But Kirabo, sometimes I really get dismayed. Let's use a case study of we ourselves. We went to school. You find that a school has to employ that person who can theoretically take you through the economics, the demand and supply, how it works, the curves and etc., the ceteris paribus and so forth. But now you have a woman who has constructed Senana supermarket. This the one of Victoria's, who started fundraising with 100 shillings, you know. So when you get the people who have the practical knowledge to implement what you're theoretically being taught, it is quite critical. That is why you even have journalists, and I'm using this as a case study because of what is happening in the media spaces. Journalists who went, and for them they are specifically theoretical, but they do not even know that I need to have a certain pedigree of discipline when I'm actually behind the microphone or in front of the camera. So does only the paperwork to teach you that a camera has a record button and this and a volume just enough for you? That by the moment you come at UBC and look at the camera, you will start fidgeting looking for what is there. So I think the issue of teaching and the technicality has to move together. That is why institutions perform more better than universities. Apart from the universities that are internationally recognized because of the people we pass out at the professor, you know, the masters and that level, PhD and etc. But when you got at these technical institutions, people are performing better. Go to Katwe, Musa Bode. He teaches people. Without that physical, the theoretical knowledge, it is practical. How many people have gotten a job because of that practicability and that skill acquired from just a garage compared to a university where a student is struggling for about 4 years to study automation engineering? So I think in the education system, we need to blend a number of people together, because if I have my expertise in engineering, am I willing to go and study that certificate you want me to so that I can pass over the knowledge? Are you going to get rid of that knowledge to let it waste?
Because you don't have that qualification to do so.
You can just say, Kirabo, kindly come, talk to our people, orient them, they give you your money for just one lecture, you take off.
Well, this move will see a number of PTCs that have been, and also NTCs that have been training at diploma, then the PTCs at primary, at certificate level, being turned into secondary schools where they don't have secondary schools, and others technical institutions. Well, we'll now look at what is trending in the print media, and we shall look at some of the papers. We have the Daily Monitor, the Daily Nation, but also we'll be looking at the New Vision this morning. What is there for you to grab yourself a copy and look at some? And I'll begin with, that is the New Vision this morning, where investigations reveal where government officials cited in illegal charcoal, that is export. That is where we are looking at that. But also in the New Vision, still we are seeing more of what is happening in the East African community as well there. And still the New Vision brings you, that is the charcoal issue, but also look at government to revamp Kilembe Miles. That is also a story that is trending, government to revamp Kilembe Miles. Also look at BMK's oldest son, named heir, that is the tycoon who passed on. There is a senior 1, senior 5 work in the New Vision, that is chemistry, economics, English, and physics for you. But also more regarding COVID-19 and all vehicles to have speed governors. That is something.
Again?
Back again. I think it was more in public transport, but now all vehicles to have speed governors, and then
after the trackers?
After the trackers.
The tracking device, remember?
Now we are waiting for speed governors. As we wait for those.
And the seat belts?
I don't know what happened, but fishing threatened as Lake Victoria, Choga. There is a weed on these. But let me now move to the Daily Monitor this morning and see what is there. But let me first do the Daily Nation.
Well, in the Daily Monitor, we see Makerere art students to study from home. You can grab yourself a copy and then you read out that. And there is also why government has not yet dispatched the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. It's well explained. You could grab yourself a copy and then read the details. COVID jab uptake hits record high. That is also in the Daily Monitor. You can look at the month of September and October. Uganda registered more people who are enrolling into the COVID-19 vaccination exercise compared to other months before. And then, of course, there are job opportunities therein. You can grab yourself a copy and see what you can read through. And even the social life as well is well explained with the booming of the social media applications and other sort of social applications. It is quite critical for those who enjoy the social life. And then why Sun took over BMK's business empire. It is also in the Daily Monitor. And then the lizard. It seems it will soon be a sin to study arts. I think they're responding to the headline just above the Daily Monitor, where Makerere students will be studying from home.
Very interesting stories there. We'll now move to the Daily Nation. That is a paper in our sister nation there, that is Kenya, where Raila headache in search for runment from Mountain Kenya. They're heading to the polls just next year, and there's so much politics happening there. Then a very interesting one, surgeon attach pig's kidney to a woman and watch it perform.
Those are killers in Uganda.
Well, that is advancement in science. There to save life. If your pig's kidney can do good, then why not? Then governors in the rest on 2022 parties. So there's a list of them there as officials speak out on a county. Chiefs cited inabilities to, that is, accumulate issues of current structures. Then Uhuru, judiciary on collision course and hope for hotels and bar workers as full business resumes in Nairobi. Remember, they opened, the curfew was lifted, and still on the political scene there, UDA wave pushes rebels to Ruto fold. So much is happening in Nairobi there, but of course you can get yourself a copy of these papers this morning and you'll be able to get more information. But in the interest of time, Ivan, as we conclude, just in a minute, we saw yesterday that is the organization that brings together private schools ask government for a bailout that is a loan payable within a period of not less than 5 years, a 5% return there of the loan, to see that they can open smoothly schools.
Conclusively, what that teaches me is that in times of good, private sectors need to be welcoming as well and moderate. We have private schools that overhike the fee structures. Probably people would say those who can afford private schools are the ones who take their kids, but there needs to be a little bit of sanity, that when times of COVID and even other pandemics come, government is able to listen to you in a more harmonized way. I think we should just learn lessons from whatever it is happening from either the private sector and even government itself. So as we can really take this country where we want to be, working together is critical. But at the time where everything is okay, you have to exert your way of operation on Ugandans because they have no choice anyway.
Rachel, we have about 28,000 private schools, and if government is to give each of these schools 100 million, that would be about 2 trillion shillings for Uganda, but it's what they need for smoother opening, and January is not very far.
Well, when I say my things, sometimes you think I'm extreme. I told you some time back that the Afghan refugees, it would be nothing and we'd forget about it. You thought I was joking. This particular argument it's a non-starter. It's going nowhere. If the 20 billion meant to help these teachers through the circles has refused to come to life, this one will never see the light of day. They need to find ways, but also going forward, these schools need to they need to invest their income. This has been a great lesson. If they have been using all their income for activities that don't generate more income, this is the time to rethink their strategy going forward. But this thing they're talking about, I hate to blow your bubble. It will never come to pass.
Well, January is not very far, and we just hope that schools will reopen and they will be prepared to ensure they have the SOPs put in place. One of the issues they were parading before that is the Education Committee of Parliament saying, hey, it is time, but we need money to put certain things in place. If we are not helped, maybe we won't have a smooth reopening of schools. Well, that's some of the stories that have made headlines this week. We hope we shall have a better week for more interesting stories and of nation building when it comes to the incoming week. Don't forget, COVID is around and we need you vaccinated. We may not hit our deadline of opening schools if the numbers remain as low as they are. So go take your first, take your second jab, and let's all enjoy the economy thrive again, because we won't have severe illness, we won't have death and hospitalization due to COVID-19. I'll leave you with Molen Kenyana, who is going to take us through issues regarding weather and nature.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
vaccinated today so we can get closer to the normal way of life. Echa COVID-19 chija kugwa.
Yes, welcome back from that press review and of course the updates on what is across print media. But we will continue with what we are seeing across the weather. And this week we also did have a roundup of mostly devastating extreme weather events, and that is, I'm talking about the flooding and the landslides, especially across Bududa. Now Bududa has for a long time been a landslide prone area, and also some parts of Kisoro. We did see most of those yesterday, looking at mostly areas of Kisoro and Toroko. We have been having heavy rains over there, which have triggered landslides. And I can tell you one thing, we did forecast that especially southwestern Uganda earlier this week, even here on the show, that these areas were likely to have heavier rains, which could lead to landslides. And we talked about especially people looking out for crackings over the land. But now it's actually very sad that some people refuse to listen to these kind of advisories and still stay in landslide prone areas. Now, one of the things that we are looking at is that the frequency of these landslides continues. We are seeing more occurrences of landslides over Bududa area and also for the Rwenzori region over the years. And this obviously, I have to relate it to the variations in our climate, looking at the fact that even in the past we have had landslides, but not to this frequency. One rainy season like this and we are already counting over 5 landslide occurrences across Bududa. So this is something that is very devastating, and we could be looking at more effects. But I'm happy that at least some humanitarian groups are coming in to help, looking at mostly the Red Cross. We did get these pictures actually from their Uganda Red Cross Society. They are coming up to at least help those people who have been displaced because of these landslides, because of the flooding. Already we have had homes that are already submerged by the waters from this heavy rainfall. Now that is a picture of some of the community members that were displaced after the landslides in Bududa, and more from that, also looking at some people who are crossing through the flooded roads to be able to access their homes. And also that is the area that actually did have landslides, that is across Bududa. We also had some pictures from that is southwestern Uganda across Kisoro. Most people are actually stranded, looking at the fact that their homes have been now submerged into the waters. Now we do ask the Ministry of Water and Environment, also Disaster and Preparedness, to really look out for the fact that this could be continued, these effects could actually continue, because the rainy season is still on, and November could also be bringing with it more heavy rains, and also for people to look out for the alerts that we do give out, especially regarding areas that are likely to have heavy rainfall. Because with rainfall, when you have consecutive days of continued rainfall, especially when they're heavy, then you look at scenarios of floods happening, you look at scenarios of landslides happening. That is something that you should take as key and really take the advisories very serious. But also for this week, we have given you mostly the alerts of what is likely to happen, but we want to look at more into what we can expect into the weekend. Well, there is a little bit of relaxation, at least across most parts of the Karamoja region, northern Uganda, but we will continue with rains, especially for southwestern Uganda. It is still showing those wet weather conditions likely to happen, especially still the areas that we have alerted people about being prone to heavy rainfall, and that could lead to flooding. It is still southwestern Uganda in the deep blue colors. Also across Lake Victoria, Kampala here, we will be looking at those rains. Then northwestern Uganda, that is across the West Nile, parts of central, those areas will still be experiencing rains, and that is across Saturday for the rest of. But take a look at Karamoja there, you're likely to be having clear days across that is Saturday, and also through to Sunday we'll see more relaxation, especially across northern Uganda. Now that continues parts of Gulu, Padel, Kitgum. Also for northwestern, you're in for a really clear Sunday, mostly looking at sunny skies and intervals of cloudy conditions. Also western Uganda now starts to relax as we head into Sunday. You look at mostly midwestern also starting to relax a bit. Also across Lake Victoria, especially the western part that is towards Masaka, that area is likely to have a little bit of relaxation. Generally we will have a reduction in wet weather activities, that is as we talk about Sunday. But this morning we will go ahead and take a look at our forecast for different areas that is across Uganda. Well, starting off with the central part of Lake Victoria, we do have Kampala, Entebbe, Wakiso and Mukono. We are forecasting isolated showers. We did start off with a little bit of those rains earlier this morning, but the system is still around and that could spread across a few areas, starting off with a pleasant 26 degrees centigrade. Now we look at southwestern Uganda, where we have Mbarara, Ibanda, Bushenyi, Rubirizi. We are forecasting sunny intervals. We'll have mostly clear skies, but with intervals of cloudy conditions. Also starting off with the 26, we'll be looking at warmer weather as we head into the afternoon, and also likelihood of light rains over there. Eastern part of central, we're looking at sunny skies, but we do have those wet weather conditions that are forecasted for the afternoon. Do look out for those, but for now you can enjoy a mix of clouds and sunshine. That will be starting off at 26 degrees centigrade. Now we look at mostly the eastern part of the country. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine. Was likely to start off with a warm morning at 27 degrees centigrade, and that area is already clearing. We could be looking at mostly a clearing trend. Even as we head into the afternoon, we might be looking at still intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. And also from the satellites that we're seeing this morning across Uganda, we did start off with that rainy system, but that was mostly across the islands of Lake Victoria, but that has also started to clear off. We do have one that is starting to kind of develop towards the central part of Lake Victoria, that is across parts of Entebbe, also headed towards Kampala, but for now it's not much precipitation, it's just trying to dissipate away, so that might lead into a clearing, especially for the lower side of Kampala, the southern side of Kampala. We do have one that is moving towards Jinja, so that could also mean that we do expect rains over there as the morning progresses. Well, there is also one that did start off earlier, that is across southwestern Uganda, crossing over towards areas for Fort Portal, Toroko. That area is also still developing clouds and could be looking at rains for this morning. Now, much of the country is actually having intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. I will leave you at that. I can see Ruben is already standby with the sports updates. Now, like I said, I've been getting a few lessons in football, learning a little bit of sports. And guess what? I'll surprise Ruben one of these days when I come up with some kind of trophy, maybe in basketball. I know the heights, but I'm trying. Good morning to you, Ruben.
Good morning, Kenya. How are you?
I am doing okay.
So what practice are you doing? Is it basketball? Is it golf? Is it cricket?
Basketball.
Basketball. But the size of
I realize it's all about how you handle the ball, how you position yourself, how you're able to actually throw the ball.
Okay.
So that the height might not matter. You just need the energy to be able to.
But do you have the talent with you? Do you have the talent?
But it's all about practicing. What if I find out that actually this is the talent that has been there and I didn't know all along?
But anyway, basketball is played by tall men, and it must be so special to play it at basketball when you are like that kind of height. But anyway, we've seen Komakech do it for City Oilers. Maybe you can also be a Komakech.
You see, it's all about the passion, and if the skill is there, hey, people shorter than me who can actually practicing.
So which team do you support in England, in the Premier League?
Liverpool. Liverpool person.
Okay, there's a big one on Sunday. Liverpool will take on United at Old Trafford.
What's your take on that?
Who is going to win the game? By which goal margin?
It's a given. I feel like Liverpool is having really strong personalities now. We don't have much, injuries. We are looking at our boys really heading to this game with very high, expectations, and so are we, the fans. So definitely Liverpool is going to take this, and it's going to be a close. But I have my eyes on it. I know for sure that Liverpool will take this. Maybe 2-1. I'll give them a 1 because they're also a highly competitive team. So yeah.
Okay, I love the knowledge of Liverpool. The way you said it, the boys are ready. Mo Salah, Firmino, and Sadio Mane are ready to take on United. Anyway, but I believe Liverpool might take that as well because they are the team in great shape, they're a team in form. Only that this is a derby of sort. The two biggest clubs in England take on each other on Sunday. But anyway, Molin, thank you so much, Molin. Of course, I love the fact that you've taken us to Rubududa, what is happening there, the landslides. But now, away from that, let's come back home and do sports. I'll start with I'll personally start with the English Premier League. We have a couple of games that will be played tomorrow. Of course, like I said, the big one will be on Sunday. That will be between Liverpool and Man U. And the game will be coming on at exactly 6:30 p.m. 6:30 it will be Man U against Liverpool. But of course, games for, let's start with games for tomorrow. Norwich will take on Chelsea. That will be at 2:30 p.m. That's the early kickoff. Then Palace will take on Newcastle. Of course, the new Newcastle, but that will be at Crystal Palace. Then of course Everton will take on Watford. That's at 5 p.m. Leeds will take on Wolves in what seems to be an entertaining game. Both teams can pass that ball, and I believe that Leeds really pass it on a high tempo than Wolves, so but we will be able to see that as well. Then Southampton will take on Burnley. That will be at 5 p.m. And then lastly Brighton will take on City. That will be at 7:30 p.m. Then on Sunday, Brentford will take on Leicester at 4 p.m. West Ham will take on Spurs. That's a double of sort as well. West Ham against Spurs. Then of course we'll have Manchester United against Liverpool, and then for me that's a game you can always catch, United against Liverpool at 6:30, and I think I'll be home catching that game live. But for me the biggest game of the weekend besides the English derby will be in Spain, where we shall have the Clásico for the first time. Not the first time I think, but we have always had Clásicos with superstars. El Clásico boosts a lot of talent. I remember the first time I watched Clásico, they had Jose Baquero, Elisto Stoichkov, George Hagi, they had Fernando Hierro at their side of Madrid, Ivan Erguera. They had the players like Zinedine Zidane, now at the turn of the century, that was 2000, when we had the Clásico that had, for me, the Galacticos, the other side, which had David Beckham, Steve McManaman, Santiago Solari, Zinedine Zidane, Luis Figo, Raúl González, Guti. Now on the other side of Barcelona, we really had the hard stars as well, from Carlos Puyol in defense. They also had players like Eric Abidal. They had Rafael Marquez, players like Xavi, Iniesta, Yaya Toure. So today you look at is it Fanti? Is it Fati, whatever the name is, and then other names you can't even know who is playing where. So and then the Messi Ronaldo era came in. For the last 10-12 years we've been having Messi and Ronaldo in that era, and now we are watching classicals without that rivalry. There's no Messi, there's no Ronaldo, but we hope for the best when it comes to classical, and I know that they can always produce the best moments in football. Sevilla will take on Levante. That will be at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Barcelona against Madrid will be 5:15. Now, we used to watch classicals at midnight. Now it is, the forces are. But of course, TV rights, they need to watch the game as early as 5. So, that will be the biggest in Spain. Betis will take on Vallecano, and Atletico will take on Sociedad. That is in Spain. Then the Serie A, of course, Atalanta will take on Udinese. Fiorentina against Cagliari. Hellas Verona will take on Lazio. Then Roma against Napoli, good one there. And then the Italian derby between Inter and Juventus will also be on. Well, we have 3 big games in all around Europe. We have the Italian derby, that is Inter against Juve. Then we have the Clasico. Madrid will take on Barcelona. Of course, we have the English derby. Liverpool will take on United. That will be the weekend is going to be filled with for me excitement. I can't miss Inter Juventus. That's a good game to catch as a fan of the Serie A. There's no way I can miss that game. And in the Bundesliga as well, we shall have a couple of games in the German Bundesliga. Before I go into the French League 1, I need to go to the Bundesliga. Cologne will take on Leverkusen. Stuttgart will take on Union Berlin. And then Bochum will take on Frankfurt. That will be in the Bundesliga. Then, of course, Bayern Munich will take on Hoffenheim. RB Leipzig will be in action as well at 4:30 tomorrow. Wolfsburg will take on Freiburg at the VW Arena. Then we shall have Hertha Berlin against Gladbach. That will be at 7:30 as well in the German Bundesliga. Then the French League 1, we also have games in the French League 1. We will have Lorient will take on Bordeaux. Lens will take on RC Lens will take on Metz. Nice against Lyon. Then of course we shall have Renault against Strasbourg, Monaco against Montpellier. Then the good one to watch in the French League 1 will be between Marseille and PSG, Olympique Marseille and PSG. Well, I will turn here Monday to give you the results from the games, but of course my predictions are very clear. Inter will beat Juventus. That will be at Giuseppe Meazza Stadium. Then we will have the English derby might end into a draw, a scoring draw. Then the Clasico, I believe Barcelona might take the day with Atsu firing from all corners. Not Atsu, it's Asu. Fati, is it Fati or Fanti? No, the name is funny anyway. But I will go back to the team, that is Priscilla and Felix. But I love, Felix was asking me what I'm putting on in terms of jeans. But I want to know the Priscilla attire. Is it the see me through or the see us through?
I expected you to ask more than earlier on about her open roof dress. Now,
what is open roof?
The roofs, did you see?
No, let me, okay. I come from the village. I don't know these things. I've gone on. So the open roof, is it a car? Is it what?
I think they are trying to be eventful in design. So
woman called at the same time.
But anyway, also Priscilla is putting on
No, you should have seen the way he was describing it. That's
I did. It's a nice top, it's beautiful, and clearly it beats the shirt dresses, Ruben. But just to ask you a question, when was the last time this whole COVID thing has been obstructive? We have not had shirt dresses at Lugogo.
I miss.
Chadon.
How I miss.
No, but we do have COVID-19 vaccination. Now there's vaccination drives at those very same locations you mentioned.
Okay.
You never know. Go for the vaccination and then who knows what you'll see.
No, but for me, I miss the shirt dresses.
The shirt dresses.
I really miss them. You know, you look at, I just go to Legends, you watch from the stands, the other side of KCCA. Then ladies would pass, go and pick the pork, muchomo. But you would not hardly watch
you would leave the game and
while we are busy looking at your watches, we're busy looking at your shoes. We're judging is like that shoe. No, but Ruben's boot, maybe he has some money. Maybe, just maybe. If he comes and says hi, I can say hi back. But for you guys who are doing short dresses.
Let me tell you a secret about women, not the Priscillas. You know that women go out on no budget, but they come out with even leftovers.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
A woman will go. A woman will go out,
and it used to puzzle me.
And
by
she
the
has
way.
no plans of buying anything for herself. She has nothing. Even transport.
Because woman is there for the. You love the shirt dress.
But that. Yeah. Anyway.
So
for me, it just makes
shirt dress.
I can grow under someone and go.
So now you know what to put on when you're bypassing men like Ruben.
Shirt dress.
But of course your body must be fitting. That shirt dress.
You don't come when you want this.
Toothpick in the Anyway, we're reading
this. To have a ruler.
How does ruler? No, there's no one. At least not in Uganda. We don't have any ruler figures.
Okay, guys,
in Uganda.
I wonder what you have got to go.
Yes, okay. Priscilla.
Yeah, back to music. You need to ask Ruben about the music because Ruben's music selection.
Today we had a question about what kind of music you listen to in the weekend, but I know Ruben's music. If you sit in,
you think you know, and then he surprises you, and even takes it like 1956. You're like, hey,
is an old boy.
Bro.
He's a country boy. He's a country boy.
So what was the question about?
About the kind of music you listen to on, let's say, on a weekend.
And why?
On a weekend or on which day?
Weekend.
Let's keep it to weekend.
You know, I come from the past. I'm surprised you with Sepilia Murumbe.
Yes.
Hey. Then I go Western life. I'll go for the shores and of course the country. I really like and I enjoy. Of course, there's Billy Ocean. I enjoy McKen Rogers, the late. I also enjoy the groups like for me the ABBA. You go to Bonnie M. So I personally don't come from this Priscilla age of there's a man here, Rabba Dabba, the one with the metallic teeth. Metallic teeth.
Yes, a so-called cham. But
where's Rabba Dabba, by the way?
He got engaged, hitched recently, wedded.
Nalwoga somewhere in the UK. But also, we have our neighbors who traded so much in music. The Congolese music. You can't talk about classic and not talk about Arus Mabele, Oliver Ngoma, the Pepe Kales of
Kanda Bongo Man.
Kanda Bongo Man. They used to have those nice dances you used to do, like.
And that is how the millennials get to be left out of this conversation and thinking, what are they talking about? Like, seriously?
They have never jumped in front and
oh my God.
Yesterday, the funny trousers of
bell bottom.
trousers.
Anyway, what?
Priscilla.
Seriously. Anyway, some reactions here. Sergeant Bennett says, the reason behind the music is the message, especially let Paulo Cafero, Sebata, Sebare, among other Kadongo Kamu music. They are educative, like Dipo.
Nazigala.
Hey.
You know those songs?
No, but I think I'm going to check out these songs over the weekend so that I understand what you guys are talking about.
But of course, also he comes to add and says that thanks GNU, like Takari comments on education, as we asked for graduates to man education, the private schools may end up struggling to raise salaries for its teachers, and of course, hence education will become expensive to the low-earning citizen. That is Sergeant Bernard there. Thank you so much, Sergeant Bernard, always for watching and of course following Good Morning Uganda. Now also another one coming in. This is Darius from Kariro. I like Maddox's music. That is also equally classic. It's a nice one there. Okay. And basically, more and more, of course, the weekend is on. So kindly hit your radio station. There's a name they used to call those. Is it Soundbox? I don't know how they call this.
Again, you can ask Ruben. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, I think...
ask me about maybe like CDs.
What were the names of those radios, Ruben? Earlier, I remember Sembole. We used to have one at home. But there were those names. Philips and National and
Sony. There was Sony.
There was Sony also.
We had, is it Architect? There's a radio called Architect. Is it Architect?
Yeah.
I don't know.
For some of you who are from those days, clearly you remember.
Sound Solo.
We
had Sound Solo, yes. We had, I don't remember well.
There's one they used to put, or take a disc, then you put like a thing. Granddad I used to have it. I don't remember.
The Walkman? Was it a Walkman?
I don't even remember the name. Yes, probably. But anyway, Some of you guys from those old days, Priscilla's of this world, they have everything on their phone.
They haven't seen
like everything, like you just swipe and go to Twitter, check out our Twitter handle, which
but
is at UBCTV Uganda.
About Paul Job Cafe. I like the fact that they can still remember Paul Job Cafe
yes.
as one of the greatest Kadonkamu singers of all time. You know, personally, I grew up listening to him, Warumbe Zaya, and Sondanya, Dipo Nazigala. So such music, it will take 10 minutes, but was such a good message.
Oh yes, by the way, the
but today we have a song that takes 1.5 minutes.
Which one is that? There's this artist who sings something I don't understand. Awamidu. What is Awamidu? Let's see. Is it English? Is it Swahili? Is it Congolese?
Fakul knows better. He plays them at lunchtime mix. So what made
How about Kabako? You're still on that? But anyway, thank you so much for watching Friday.
You talked about education earlier. We do have a live broadcast coming your way at exactly 10 o'clock, the 22nd graduation ceremony of Uganda Christian University, which is happening today at exactly 10 o'clock. So after Dragon Semakula, do check that out and support the students. Online graduation is a new thing, and in one way or another, for now, we can embrace it as we wait for full vaccination so that we can reopen the economy, but more so reopen education.
Funny how things change. Especially. I can't imagine graduating on TV. Some of us used to be...
No, but don't worry. For you, you're on TV every single day, Monday to Friday. Anyway. Catch up on Good Morning Uganda, Monday to Friday, 6:30 to 9 a.m. And we're here to keep you informative, to have dialogue about what has made headlines in the last 24 hours. We do have various agendas every single day, and we commit to actually keep you in touch with what's taking place on the national level. Goodbye.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co-Uganda, Office of the President.
Grow together with one of Uganda's largest companies. Apply for MTN shares for as low as 100,000 Uganda shillings. And when you apply using MTN Mobile Money, you get 10 free extra shares for every 100 shares you apply for. Dial *165*65# or use the MyMTN app to apply now. The terms and conditions of the offer and other important information are set out in the prospectus. For assistance, visit any MTN service center or Stanbic Bank branch countrywide or a licensed broker.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local